Welcome to another beautiful day out here in Creswick Forest, while I try and determine if I've got a workaround for what has broken ClimbPro. I've got quite the story to tell. We're quite deep down the rabbit hole, and I thought I would spin up a video and have a chat as I'm out here testing this in real time. So ClimbPro on the Garmin units, with a preloaded route at this point in time, it will pick out the climbs coming up and break them down and give you a overview or climb analysis slash magnifying glass on the climb as you go up them. And what's been happening, I think, based on my research, is ever since ClimbPro has been released, probably around 2 years, people have been having issues with it being laggy or delayed or inaccurate. So this is what I'm down the rabbit hole with, and I may have a workaround, and I may have something we can point Garmin towards, maybe Strava, maybe, I don't know quite yet. But it is an interesting one. So my personal experience with this, probably around 12 months ago, I was out testing the 1040, coming up a climb, out in the road through the trees there, and I started the climbing, just like now, climbing, and then ClimbPro kicked in about 200 meters later. I thought nothing more of it until I got to the top, and ClimbPro finished about 200 meters down the hill. So it raised half an eyebrow at the time. And then a few months ago, on this very course that I'm on now, in the event that I'm wearing the jersey from, the Fiona Elsie Ballarat Cycling Classic, Von and I, Mrs. Lama, were both doing the 63k gravel course. Von had a 1030 plus, I had the 1040 solar. We were both following the same route, or route, if that's your flavour, for the course that has been credited on Strava. Now, after about 10 Ks, I noticed my ClimbPro was being laggy. It wasn't correctly detecting where the climbs were. Now again, this is not altitude, not the altimeter, not the barometer lag. That's a whole different story. This is about the predefined and preloaded course appearing to be incorrect on our head units, something that shouldn't happen. And that was after about 10 Ks. After 16 Ks, we're up a very, very steep climb, which I'm aiming for today. And it was 300 meters off. It was horrible. To the point where the short, sharp climbs, you couldn't trust ClimbPro on it. Now, not something that you could accept if you're spending well over $1,000 on the 1040 solar here in Australia. So that raised the other half of my eyebrow from a few months back, and I'd always been meaning to loop back to this one and have a look at more about what's going on. 5 weeks ago, John over on Twitter raised the concern, but did a little bit more legwork, literally, behind the keyboard and on the bike, to find out something really, really interesting, that when exporting a route, sorry, there's a lot of backstory here, you'll have to get through it before we get to the climb. We're still a few Ks away. When exporting a route from Strava into Garmin Connect, Garmin Connect would phase shift part of the ride. Now, it appeared, just on quick visual inspection, seriously, what a beautiful place to ride, look at this. It appears on visual inspection, car back, that, take it easy through here, got you mate, potholes, wave. It appeared that the further you went on the climb, or into the route, I'll pull over, mate. You're right. You're right, mate. The further you went on the climb, good old VS Commodore. Actually, it's doing better than me up this climb. Got the wrong gearing. Sorry, more of a vlog style here than me sitting at my desk at home today. So, the further you got in the climb, the further things phase shifted. Now, I'll put this up on the screen so you know what I'm talking about. And this caught my attention, but I didn't really know what to do with it. or how deep to dive. And then yesterday or the day before, John tweeted again like, hey Garmin, come on, it's been 5 weeks. Here's pretty good evidence about what's going on. Can we have a look at the issue? So from there, I did some more diving into the forums. The issue has been widely reported across multiple Garmin Edge units using ClimbPro, on Reddit, Garmin's own forums, etc. with no conclusion or no real workaround. So I loaded this course I'm on now from the Strava GPX and the Garmin Connect course that had been synced from Strava over. I ran it through John's method of using the GPS analyzer or GPS visualizer, and surprise, surprise, after 10 Ks, look what happens. There's a phase shift. Something happens that causes the Garmin Connect sync, the Garmin Connect course, to phase shift. It'll be pushed out a little bit. Now from here on in, it gets a little bit over my head in GPS positioning and algorithms and how it's all computed. However, I'm pretty good at using standard tools that are out there for the end user. So I loaded the route up in Komoot and had a look at what Komoot did. Komoot did a lot of smoothing, which made the route look like a cartoon. So Komoot's out of the picture for now. Oh, and by the way, loading the Komoot route onto an Edge unit, it only detects 3 climbs, whereas loading the GPX Raw loads 11 climbs. Komoot, stop your smoothing. Now, another interesting point. So at the moment, it looks like, at that point, it looked like it was Garmin Connect rewriting the data and screwing the elevation points or distance. Because technically the elevation is still correct. The distance is incorrect. And then further down the rabbit hole, it's a deep one. Looking at the Strava data, the Strava elevation is incorrect, but the topo map is correct. So I'll pull it up on screen here. You can see the blue dot of the climb we're heading to in a few minutes. The blue dot is a river crossing or a little creek crossing just there. And according to the topo map, there's still some climbing to be done. So we moved the little dot to where it thinks the elevation is the lowest. And I think it's around, from memory, I'm recalling it's down the bike with overlays here. It looks to me that the lowest point on the Strava elevation is 495 meters, but on the topo map, that should be around 525 meters. So there's a discrepancy there. So where we're at the moment is that I think that something's stuffing up on the Strava end that some services or some devices can account for or rewrite correctly, but Garmin Connect is not. And it may be just taking those erroneous points from Garmin Connect, or from Strava, sorry, and writing them to Connect, and then writing them out to the head unit, and then giving people a very poor experience when it comes to ClimbPro. So that's a long story short. Let me summarize. ClimbPro is broken, not always. It's one of those problems that people have reported widely, but nothing has been, there's been no resolution to it. There's no resolve. I've experienced it twice. It's now at a point where it's off a little bit. So here I am out here, and I believe I have a workaround, which we're just about to find out as I pass through the specific point, which is the Bermuda Triangle of GPX files here on Wolves Road. So let's go a little bit further down the road and we'll have a look at the head units. Oh, and by the way, now whilst I'm out here testing Garmin Edge units and ClimbPro, unfortunately, the only leaks that you'll see on this channel are all of that sort. It was a water bottle, don't worry. I don't pee green. So I can't show you the ClimbPro taking place. I will take a screenshot on the other unit though that doesn't have screen recording, and I will have, pop on screen here, the Hammerhead Karoo with the same course loaded from Strava without the issue. So not the course loaded from Connect. Hopefully you're following along. This is likely going to be a support ticket to Strava, put in video format. It's taken all day yesterday to get to here. It's going to take all day today to figure out if this workaround is going to work. I'm losing time and sleep on this one. I'm genuinely interested in what's going on, and full credit to John for the work that he has done and the communications that we've had to try and understand what's going on. Super cool stuff. Working together, how about that? Gets things done. All right, let me go through the Bermuda Triangle here that exists on one system and not the other. We'll get to the bottom of this climb and we'll see if my workaround to ClimbPro works, and we'll have something to submit over to Strava. And once that's done, we'll go to the real steep climb and see how far it's off on both of these units. All right, let's go. Okay, here we are through the Bermuda Triangle. We've got the screens up. I'll take a screenshot of the Garmin that I can show. And you've got the hammerhead there on screen. And I think my theory is going to work. I think the Garmin Connect ClimbPro is wrong. You can see on the hammerhead there, it's starting right at the base. There's an updated picture on the Garmin that I can't record the screen on. It's the 1040. And the other one that I can't show you has the GPX file loaded straight from Strava. All right, here we go. This is what it's all about. If you're in the forums, I love this stuff. I absolutely love this stuff. Okay, cool. We are at the bottom right here. We'll agree. Looks good. Let me put the rear camera on as well before we get climbing. I have the continuous. All right. So creek crossing right here, and there is no doubt at all the climb starts right here. However, none of the units have started climbing just yet. Let's have a look. Okay, no, I lied. The Karoo has started climbing. The unit with the GPX from Strava has started climbing. There is the screenshot from the 1040 with this route taken from Garmin Connect. I love it when a plan works. We are definitely up it's about 10% grade at the moment. And again, another screenshot. Sorry for the static screenshots. In a week or two, this won't be a problem. But you can see right there that ClimbPro is broken. Confirmed. I do apologise it's taken so long for me to ramble to get here in the story, but that's what is going on. My experience syncing a route from a third party is better than syncing a route from a third party that's then synced over to Garmin, then to a Garmin head unit. Unacceptable. Been a bit of fun to dive into. Okay, that confirms that. Oh, starting at 180 meters. Sure. There's the screenshot of that. Good one, laggy. So, it's not GPS. The GPS track is okay. It's the elevation data that is having kittens. So not an easy one to solve. However, with the help of a few people on the internet and the forums, and the persistence of John over on Twitter, we have a workaround. We just don't have a solution. The climb hasn't even started, which is in line with, I'll pull it up on screen here. Here's where the blue dot is, and here's where I am about now on course. Wait for it. 1040 with the Connect. Now, get out of here. Been climbing for 5 minutes. All right, as I said, I'm having an absolute blast. Beautiful day. Good to see some things line up and actually work as I thought. And I'd like to thank the Karoo too for being reliable and also just working there. All right, let's cruise up to climb number 2. You'll see me suffer up that one. It hits about 15-16%. Then we're into Creswick for a coffee. I'll put this video together and we'll call it a day. It's a bloody wonderful day today. All right, let's go to the next climb. Okay, as I approach climb number 2 for this video, it's climb 3 or 4 in the GPX file, but let's call it climb number 2 as my example. The Garmin unit with the Strava GPX is telling me I'm just about to hit the climb. The 1040 with the Connect or Garmin Connect synced route, which came from Strava, is telling me I've still got a long way to go. And the Karoo 2 along for the ride, again just for illustrative purposes today, because I can record the screen on it. It appears to be correct, telling me I'm just about to hit this nasty little pincher. And here it is. Woof. All right, and yeah, 1040. You're drunk. You're drunk. And it's about here in the Fiona LC Classic that I switched off ClimbPro, because you can see there with the static screen that I have for the 1040, it ain't anywhere near reality. I've got one more gear. That's always helpful for what's coming up. All right, let's suffer through this and we'll see how far off the other one is. I suspect the same as last time, 300 to 400 meters. Did I mention it was a beautiful day? It's an absolutely beautiful day. And the reason I'm using this hill is because I'm just about to crest the steep part and the 1040 hasn't even started the climb. Well, the climb proper on the elevation. You can see there with the updated static screenshot. All right, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. All right, now every unit does things a little differently in how it categorizes the climb, start and finish. There goes one of the Edge units with the Strava GPX on it. That's the Hammerhead Karoo. Still telling me I've got 200 meters to go, so it's around the corner. And the, welcome to the party 1040. You finally started that climb that's back there. All right, that's it for the climbs. That's it for my testing. Let's cruise back into town, have a chat. And I've got a few people to thank for their input on this too, as I wrap this one up and submit it over to Garmin, maybe Strava, possibly. I still don't quite know what's happening, but I do know we have a workaround. All right, I need a coffee after all that. Edge 1040 me still climbing. He's gonna need 2 coffees. Okay, coffee obtained, halfway through the road, we are good. So quite an interesting one, and something that has consumed me for the last day and a half, trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. It was one of those things that it was happening to me, but not enough for me to look further into. And I think that's the case with a lot of other people too. ClimbPro's been stuffing up on them, but they haven't really done much more. A few people have posted on forums, but Garmin really haven't come up with a solution. And I think that's because technically there's nothing wrong with ClimbPro. ClimbPro is working just fine. It's what ClimbPro is being fed as the input data that's incorrect. And the strange thing is that it works from Strava, but when you go Strava to Garmin Connect and export from Garmin Connect, it doesn't work, and was well off today, as you saw out in the road. So anyway, my thank you list on this one, definitely Jeff over on Twitter for his persistence on this one and the communication we've had. I much appreciate that. Aussie Rider and Wind Warrior over on the Trainer Road forums too, who have provided some GPX files for me to look into, and everything's lining up. Wind Warrior sent over a GPX that had 5 climbs, of which the last 2 he mentioned were a little bit off. And when we run them through the GPS visualizer, here's what happens. They're off right in that spot. So, the workaround, in conclusion, is to export directly from Strava and then drop the file into /Garmin/NewFiles and not go through Garmin Connect for now. That solved my problem. That made riding with one of the Edge units, which I cannot mention, an expected experience. Climb goes up, ClimbPro comes up. Climb finishes, ClimbPro finishes. Whereas going through the other way encountered the problem. And I'm happy that I was able to replicate that today too. So, in conclusion, that's today's video. This is today's support ticket. Typically, I'm doing these kind of things nearly every single day, and they get to a point where I don't have enough data. I submit it as a support ticket, and that's it. And look, to be honest, it's a bit of a time waster for me. But this one, I think, has been going on long enough. It's time for us to get some answers, I guess. And hopefully after all of this, and with the contributions of everybody, we get it fixed. Let me know in the comments below if you've had problems with ClimbPro, if you've experienced exactly the same problems, and yeah, I'll keep everyone updated on how things go in getting these things sorted. I don't think this will be the last video I'll be making on ClimbPro or similar technologies in the next week. Right, stay tuned. We'll see you soon.